book is called Great Joy, and it's a wonderful story about joy. You can see the little organ grinder and the monkeys. The week before Christmas, a monkey appeared on the corner of 5th and Vine. He was wearing a green vest and a red hat. And with him was a man, an organ grinder, who played music for the people on the streets. In the daytime, when the sun shone, the sequins on the monkey's vest glistened and flashed, and from the window of her apartment, Frances, see Frances? Well, she could see the tin cup that he held out to the people who walked by. Sometimes, if it was very quiet for just a moment, that she could hear the music. It came across the crowded sidewalk and up through the windows. And even though the organ grinder and the monkey were just across the street, the songs sounded sad and far away. And just like the music from a dream. Then we see the little girl, she's getting her robe hemmed by her mother there. So, where do they go at night? Frances asked. Who? Asked her mother. That man and his monkey. Oh, Frances, said her mother, don't ask me questions that I can't answer. I'm sure they go somewhere. Everyone goes somewhere. But where? Said Frances. I have no idea, said her mother. Don't ask me questions that I can't answer. I'm sure they go somewhere. Everyone goes somewhere. I have no idea. Turn around. Frances turned. Her mother pinned the bottom of her robe. There, said her mother. Now all I have to do is hem it. And you'll be ready. Have you memorized your lines? Yes, said Frances. Are you excited about the pageant? Yes, said Frances, and she turned away from her mother and looked out the window at the monkey. That night, Frances made herself stay awake. She hummed songs and said her multiplication tables. She named the capitals of each state: St. Paul, Tallahassee, Harrisburg, one after the other one. Every time she felt as if she might fall asleep, she shook her head and pinched her arm and opened her eyes wide. Finally, at midnight, Frances got out of bed and crept down the hallway to the living room. She looked down into the street and she saw the organ grinder, but where was the monkey? Her heart thumped, and then she saw him. Tucked inside the man's overcoat, his small red hat was still on his head. Look at me, Frances whispered. Look up here. And it was the organ grinder who looked up. He took his cap from his head and raised it to her. They sleep on the street, Frances said, even when it snows. Oh, Frances, her mother said, maybe they could come for dinner, Frances said. No, they can't come for dinner, said her mother. Well, why not? They're strangers. That's why. Eat your breakfast. You've got a big day ahead of you. All that day it snowed, but by evening, in time for the pageant, the sky cleared. The snow was so deep that Frances had to wear her boots for the walk to the church. The organ grinder and the monkey were still on the corner. See, there they are on the corner still. And Frances ran up and put a nickel in the monkey's cup. "I'm going to be in the Christmas play tonight," she said. "I got to wear wings, and I have one line to say. Do you want to hear it?" "Frances," her mother said, "we're going to be late. Let's go." "You can come," Frances said, turning back. "The play is at the church. It's just down the street. You can both come." The organ grinder smiled at her, but his eyes looked so sad. At the church, everyone else was already in costume. "Hurry," the choir director said as he helped Frances put on her wings. The shepherds walked out first, and then the choir director pointed to Frances. "Now," he whispered. Frances stood very still. She opened her mouth, but the words would not come. "Say it," whispered one of the shepherds. "Say it," hissed an angel who didn't have any lines of her own. The camel, which was really two people, swayed nervously back and forth. But Frances could not speak. All she could think about was how cold it was outside and how the organ grinder's eyes were, even when he smiled. The world was quiet. Everyone waited. Then, at the back of the sanctuary, a door opened. And Frances smiled. "Behold," she shouted, "I bring you tidings of great joy." And because the words felt so right, Frances said them again. Great joy.